Whatever, Ed.
What can I say? Carolina Panthers, 2-0.
Welcome everyone to the weekly Comics Week in Review, where we talk about everything happening in the comic book world and apparently the football world. Thank goodness Nick took off his Detroit jersey, and she just informed us they got romped tonight. So congratulations. Rams won, barely. Tampa Bay, who cares? But we're here to talk about everything in the comic book universe. And with me, as always, is the crew of TeamStash.com, Ed Garrett, Mr. DC, Joseph Gagel, Mr. Marvel, and Nicholas Duran, Mr. Everything in the comic book world, and Mr. Batman. Mr. Batman tonight.
I was just making up my own bar.
You're making up your own bar, your own lower third.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's a week in the news of comic books. The biggest news we had, which I mean, this is big news. Zack Snyder decided to tweet out some photos of the Batmobile, which Ed immediately sent me an email yelling at me about how awful these pictures were. But I think it looks pretty badass. I just put them on the screen. There is our new Batmobile. Guns a-blazing in front.
That's my problem with the Batmobile. The design of the car itself is awesome. But for whatever reason in the movies, they want to give Batman guns. And that's something that's really at the core of who Batman is. I know some early stories in the 1940s he had a gun, quickly got rid of that. There's a story where he had that magic bullet that got rid of Darkseid, but other than that, Batman has never used a gun because that's how his parents died.
But Batman's not using a gun. The Batmobile's using a gun. It could have rubber bullets, Ed. It could just be the blow-down wall, so he can do whatever he wants.
I have a feeling you're going to see some real bullets.
You just blast through Gotham.
You know, but twin guns on a turret just didn't hit me well. Other than that, I will say that the car looks great. Other than that, but that one part of it did bother me.
Something's got to strike fear in Gotham. No one there cares. Arkham Asylum can't hold them in. I mean, that place has proven to be pretty useless thus far.
You know what you got though when you have a Batman movie with a bunch of guns? You have the Punisher. If you want a Punisher movie, go for it. But I just didn't want a Batman movie.
Didn't they try that back in the day and it failed miserably?
Which one?
I don't know. Did they ever do a Punisher movie? Or was that just my friend telling me how much he wanted it? Because my friend's a huge Punisher fan.
They did 3.
They've done 3. There was one with Dolph Lundgren in the 80s. There was one with Thomas Jane, which was my favorite.
I agree.
And then there was the Punisher War Journal or Warzone, which was by Marvel Knights, and it was just bad.
But none of them were very good.
I turned it off 10
But
minutes
if you go back to a Batmobile with guns, I just got reminded at the start of Batman Beyond, Batman uses a gun because he's having a heart attack. He can't do anything else to save himself, and he immediately retires because he had to use a gun to save himself. I mean, this is a guy who does not use guns. So, but I know in the movies they've had it from Tim Burton's Batmobile on. It's just something I don't like to see. Other than that, though, cool car.
Nick, what do you think of this Batmobile here? I mean, look at this thing.
I think it looks pretty sweet. We don't know if those are guns. Maybe those are high beams or fancy horn.
I liked your idea pre-podcast. What if they're freaking laser beams?
Yeah, and they're put on sharks instead of Batmobiles. Yeah.
I think
if Dr. Evil can have sharks with friggin' laser beams, then why can't Batman?
Because he's not Dr. Evil. That's it. Let's just stick to it here.
I think if they want to ruin Batfleck even more in public mind, they'll give him a gun. But
yeah, I mean, I do like the uniform that I've seen with Batfleck so far. It's very reminiscent of Dark Knight.
Sorry,
we just got cat bombed.
But we'll see. And I hope the movie's good. I still have a lot of hope for the movie. It's a quibble with the car, but I'm still looking forward to the movie.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the question, minus all of the guns, is Ben Affleck going to pull off Batman?
Right.
And I know none of you have seen Neighbors, but the conversation between Seth Rogen and I can't think of the other lead character in the movie. They have a conversation to where they ask. He goes, "Who's Batman to you?" And Seth Rogen's like, "Oh, it's Michael Keaton." And God, who's the other main character in that movie? The younger character. He's like
The High School Musical guy.
Yeah.
Girls like Zac Efron.
Zac Efron. And he is like, no, he's like, this is Batman. He gives it the big, deep voice of all the recent Batman movies. And they have this giant conversation of who's the real Batman based on Batman voices.
That growl started with Michael Keaton. Nobody had ever done Batman that way before. They'd always used the same voice. When you listen to Adam West, it was Adam West either way. But that was a Tim Burton and Michael Keaton thing that has really stuck ever since because it just worked so well.
Who's the voice of the cartoon Batman? The cartoon voice.
Kevin Conroy.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
What, you don't like Christian Bale? I am Batman.
I'm a speech pathologist in the real life, and there's just something about the way he's saying that just bothers me. He's just a little bit. He looks like he needs just a little bit of speech therapy when he's doing his Batman voice.
Well, what do you think? What do we think of? Now I can't think of his name. So I get for drinking before the podcast. Who's going to be the new Batman?
Batfleck.
Yeah, Affleck. Okay, so what the hell do you think he's going to sound like? Is he gonna come out and do this Christian Bale? Can you imagine him trying to do a Christian Bale voice?
I want a Boston Batman.
Yeah, there's got to be a crowd that goes with it.
Maybe Zack Snyder will give him a voice modifier. Kind of like on Arrow.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think he'll do wicked good.
Wicked good. Wicked good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still skeptical on this Affleck Batman thing, especially how dark this movie is. I can't take Affleck seriously.
Well, I think the more important thing is he's got to play Bruce Wayne better than he has to play Batman, and I think that's where he'll shine through.
I think he'll kill it as Bruce Wayne.
Because anybody can be Batman. It's Bruce Wayne.
No, anyone can be Bruce Wayne. Who?
I disagree.
I disagree too.
You put on a suit, you walk around like you own the place. Anyone in Hollywood can do that.
But no, it's portraying the character of Bruce Wayne is like the mask to Batman. So you have to play it like that. Anyone can strap the suit of Batman on and talk like this, and let the stunt guy take care of everything else. I think that's the real acting challenge, and I think he'll do well in that.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne is Batman's biggest performance, so.
We had this same conversation years ago when Michael Keaton got the job. He had been known for comedies, and he was not known for anything serious, and everyone's wondering how in the world he could ever do a serious Batman. And yet, it turned out they were just like now. They were casting Bruce Wayne. He did a fantastic job, and now he's seen as a definitive Batman by a lot of folks. But at the time, there was a lot more controversy over him than there even is over Batfleck today.
Yeah, no one wanted Mr. Mom to play Batman.
That's right.
Yes.
At least Affleck's put on a cowl before, right?
I mean, one of his great roles before Batman was to play in a movie where he was running a prostitution ring out of a morgue, which was supposed to have been a comedy.
Well, moving on from Batman, because we could talk about Batman all night, but this week, the other big news is Teen Titans got a pilot on TNT, and I believe it even got a pilot with a penalty. So if they don't pick it up, TNT's got to pay big bucks.
That would be awesome. The Titans have been a great group since the 1960s. There have been several iterations from them. I think, Nick, you've heard some rumors as to which group might be in this series.
I heard Dick Grayson, and for me, I would think it would have to be Dick Grayson Robin, right? Because you want a character that people have already aware of and can jump onto. Nightwing is popular, but not like Robin.
Yeah, if Nightwing would be known in the comic book community, probably people would be scratching their heads wondering why Dick Grayson is not Robin if he doesn't show up that way. So you're right, that would make more sense for the TV show.
But who else would they have? That's my question. Who else can you put on that show? Because they have some pretty wild characters.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Cyborg, I could see Raven. I don't know if they'd do Starfire because that would be a little bit out there to do. But, you know, I mean, they managed to pull enough other characters from the DC Universe into these shows, who knows what they would do. I'm just hoping this actually turns into something that's a good show so it can become a series.
I don't know. TNT's done some pretty good stuff with their sci-fi recently. So there's nothing saying that they won't do anything good with this. I guess TNT wants to jump on the bandwagon of the comic book universe. Is just about every other major network has a comic book show now, with CBS, except for CBS. CBS is the only one not in the comic book realm, right?
Well, you'll know when it's gone oversaturated when we have the Inferior 5 show up for a show.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you think this is going to oversaturate comics and comic world and kind of slow things down?
I mean, Teen Titans has been around TV, though, since, like, what, 2003? Cartoon Network and WB had shows. Arguably, I think they're cartoons.
Go Titans.
Like, off and on TV for, you know...
Go Titans, because that would be just so horrible.
This will be the first this will be the first, like, fictional live-action type show we've seen of this. But I would imagine they would just cater it around Robin, because there's no other show that caters around Robin. That would be the most logical choice, because there's no other universe on TV where Robin really exists. I mean, Gotham's isn't focused on Batman and Robin. It's focused on, you know, all of your evil characters.
But there's a reason why I think Robin doesn't exist. I think Robin's a little too cheesy, and I think even Christian Bale, when he signed on for the Dark Knight series, he said the only way to do it is if they say they will not put a Robin in it. Even though, you know, we all know how it ended, but that was very small.
I think that's more just how the Batman and Robin movie came out. That wasn't the fact that there was a Robin. It was the fact that it was a horribly written and directed and acted movie. I'd hate to blame it on that one character. It would be like, well, you could never have Poison Ivy again. So, I don't know. I think they'll keep adding TV shows, though, until they do have a Batman and Robin moment with some show that really bombs.
The only thing is that they'll need a character that a generic public can relate to in order to draw an audience. So going in with a Cyborg or a Raven, people don't know who the hell they are. People know the name Robin. They may not know the backstory. The backstory they may know may just be that of Batman and Robin. God bless them.
If they have a Robin, then they can build a couple of characters around him that people don't know as well. That's where I really think it makes the most sense about this needing to be Robin versus Nightwing. If you have a character everyone knows, then you can throw in a couple of folks that people are not as familiar with and still introduce them well if you're centering them around Robin. They're really just around Robin. Yeah.
Exactly. That's the way I see it going. We'll see. Hopefully that pilot sees the light of day, and we get to see that move forward. But The one thing that we do know is moving forward, to kind of mix it up here, is that we were told this week that we are getting Hulk versus Thanos by Jim Starlin. Joe, what do you think of them bringing this in, doing a Hulk versus Thanos?
Well, lately here in Marvel, the character versus character, especially in the Deadpool franchise, has been a very successful thing to do, and something like this only kind of makes sense because Thanos has been locked away. I don't know what kind of continuity-wise they're going to do, if they're just going to throw it out there, but Thanos' ultimate power and the Hulk is ultimate power as well, kind of. So it'd be kind of neat to see these two go at it, and I'm pretty excited for it, to be honest.
And we're going to see it this year, according to Marvel.com. They said we will get this later this year with an array of guests. So it looks like it's going to be a mashup of a lot of different stuff. So I'm intrigued. Nick, you have any opinion on this?
Well, I hope Hulk wins. I think it'll be cool. It's two very similar characters, and like Joe said, power versus power. So
the only thing we really know is that it's going to start on Earth, and then it's going to be taken to, where'd they say? Negative zone, and then ends back on Earth.
I think it will be fun to watch. So Thanos is a character where we can watch Hulk just let loose, and that will be that. And a lot of artists say one of their favorite thing is just drawing destruction, and I think we'll see lots of destruction.
That'll be the coolest thing about the series. You just get to see them destroy so many different parts of Earth and wherever they decide to go with it. It'll be a fun little series. Ed, what did you have in the DC world?
There's one more bit of news. The Legion of Superheroes is coming back. Now, this is big for a lot of Legion fans. They started back in the 60s with a teenage Jim Shooter writing all the stories. There's been several different iterations. They've rebooted them I don't know how many times over the years. The New 52 version of the Legion that they did a series on that eventually was canceled was eventually revealed at the end to be what we believe to be the Legion for Earth 2, not the Prime Earth Zero of the DC Universe. So now we're going to get one more reboot for the Legion. They're going to come in on Justice League United in their October annual. It's an oversized annual that's coming in with the start of a story called the Infinitus Saga, where they're coming back in time, Terminator style, to prevent something horrible from happening in the future. It sounds like their mission is somehow involving killing a child, though, which sounds horrible for the Legion, and Justice League United stopping them. But from the artwork, it looks like a more recognizable Legion with Mon-El and Phantom Girl and all the other Saturn Girl and Lightning Lad and all the great guys from the Legion coming through. I'm an old Legion fan from way back when, so I'm really looking forward to that. The other stuff that happened, though, actually in the comics this week was Futures End. A lot of Futures End books out there. My favorite on it was Batgirl. It was the last show for Gail Simone on Batgirl, and she threw in every Batgirl that folks have been waiting for. So we had Stephanie Brown back in a Batgirl suit, Cassandra Cain back in a Batgirl suit, and one more Batgirl that's a new one that was thrown in 5 years from now with a Batgirl who has been thrown into a terrible situation that gives her sort of a Bruce Wayne level of obsession. And she's transformed herself over the years. It's a really good story. Features in Batman. He's breaking into LexCorp and going through all the defenses with a holographic Lex taunting him all the way, going after something that I won't reveal here, but it's pretty weird and amazing why he has gone into LexCorp and risked everything. The Futures End main book, you got Batman Beyond going after Terrific. You've got Lois deciding whether to blow the whistle on Superman, the masked Superman really being Shazam. And this character, 50 Sue, keeps proving to be the most powerful character in the DC universe. She's got reality-altering powers. I really don't know what they're going to do with her, particularly after Futures End ends, because she is, she's such an amazingly powerful character. I don't know where they can leave her. In Batman Eternal, you find out that Selina Kyle is not a Kyle, but you find out what her last name really is and what her connection is to a former crime kingpin of Gotham. So there was a lot going on this past week, along with Superman Unchained, with Superman and Wraith's final battle. So it was a whole lot of stuff hitting last week, particularly in the Futures End books, and also in Batman Eternal.
Awesome stuff. Futures End always got great stuff, as you know, and I know you love Batman Eternal.
Oh, I'm a big fan.
I know you are too, Nick. You've liked that series too.
Yeah, they're both great series. And another one to check out, I think it was The World's Finest with Power Girl and Huntress, and I think they talk about 50 Sue and what they think she is.
Well, and you also have two Power Girls, because when Power Girl left Earth Zero to go back to Earth 2, her powers somehow manifested themselves in a new Power Girl for the Prime Earth, so they're both there.
Well, the Power Girl was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, yeah. World's Finest has been really good. It's sort of a twist on an old title that used to be out years ago. World's Finest back in the '60s was a Superman Batman title, and this version has the apostrophe at the end of the S instead of before the S, indicating multiple worlds, and has sort of the female allegories to these guys with Power Girl and Huntress. So it's been a good series.
Awesome. Joe, what do we got going on in Marvel Universe outside of Hulk vs. Thanos? You got some cool stuff going on with, we got Wolverine.
Yeah, the Death of Wolverine Part 2 was this week. It was just as outstanding as the first one. He finally gets an audience with Viper. Has another really cool spread fight scene with Sabretooth, and learns that someone is collecting weapon, not just Weapon X, but from the weapon program, because he runs into another weapon project character, and so that all looks pretty neat to see going forward. Exactly who is collecting these weapons, so to speak. So that'll be obviously it's going to lead to his death, but just how it's going to lead will be pretty neat. But really, the book for me this week, as much as I love Wolverine, was Magneto #9. It had a really good story in the sense that he's gone back to Genosha because it's kind of become a concentration camp for mutants under the Red Skull. And they do a lot of really good storytelling here relating his original time in Germany with the concentration camps, and how he's kind of like, as he sees more and more of this, he gets this anger in him of not again. I'm not going to watch my people go through this again. Unfortunately, he he falls victim to the Red Skull and its S-Men, which kind of continues it to next week. But it was I felt really well-written story, really for his character as well. And the last couple things this week, a really good Amazing Spider-Man issue, it was a really good Spider-Man character issue. He has been dealing with a whole lot. The Black Cat has really gone hardcore bad guy. Electro has been out of control. And through all this, Peter Parker just wanted to save Electro. And he does at the end of the day, and that's the really cool part of it. I want to save everybody, even the bad guys. The Edge of Spider-Verse started this week, and that's basically kind of building off the last Superior Spider-Man issue, where he's going through time collecting other Spider-Men to fight this person who's going through each universe, killing off its own Spider-Man. And this one is a take on the Spider-Man Noir character and how he gets pulled into all this, which is Spider-Man Noir is kind of like a Spider-Man in the 30s and that kind of style, almost Batman-ish, if you will. And then to kind of go along with the Thanos, after the death of Wolverine, I've often wondered what will happen to the series Wolverine and the X-Men. If they'll just get rid of it, if they'll replace it, if they'll merge it. But apparently, before he dies, Spider-Man makes a promise to Wolverine, and in Spider-Man and the X-Men, we will see him become the Jean Grey School guidance counselor.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Kind of like you said, Nick, another X-Men book to buy. I was really hoping they would merge it, but this could be cool.
Yeah, well, wishful thinking. You knew, capitalism was going to win in the end.
Oh, yeah.
But, gotta kill him off so people want him back. So it'll be interesting to see how they still wrap this whole thing up with Wolverine in the end. But Nick, what did you have for us this week? You read a few some books this week.
Yeah, I got some indie stuff. So a new series, well, it's on its third issue by Image, is Spread. And Spread's a pretty cool new series. It's very different. It's post-apocalyptic, and I know we have a lot of those going on, but it reminds me kind of Waterworld in a little bit. But not minus the water.
Is that a good thing?
I liked Waterworld, but that's neither here. That's neither here nor there. It's about this guy who's just kind of a loner, a scavenger going through, and it's up north in like Alaska during something's wiped out the majority of humanity. So he finds this baby, and now on the first issue, he finds this baby that her tears have the cure to this plague that's affecting the world, and then he picks up this woman along the way, and he's kind of making this makeshift family for this lady, and it's for this baby, sorry, and it's just really cool watching the kind of Walking Dead meets Waterworld. Another one.
Great analogy.
Yeah, another one that I love. One of my favorite series right now is Michael Bendis or Brian Bendis, and basically anything Snyder and Bendis does, I read. And this one is United States of Murder Incorporated, and it's about the mafia in the United States had a war back in the 70s or 60s, and the mafia owns the entire seaboard and Eastern Seaboard, and it also owns Vegas. So they're their own territory. And this is about a newly made man named Valentino, and he's on the run, being framed for a murder he apparently didn't do. It kind of is, and this issue we find him on the run to Vegas, actually trying to seek some help from a rival family, and it's had quite some twists. And then I will finish it up with Copperhead, which is probably the coolest book that came out this week. It's a space western, kind of like it's good for Firefly fans. It's about a sheriff who's coming to the mining town of Copperhead, and she's kind of making a new life for her and her son, but she's learning that this is a town that has a lot of people who are up to a lot of no good. And Brian K. Vaughan, the writer creator of Saga, is calling it his favorite book, so it's definitely worth checking out.
Gotta be careful referring to things like Firefly.
Yeah, I know.
Excited, including myself.
Oh yeah.
Because I've read some of the Serenity and Firefly comics from Dark Horse, and yeah.
So I should take that back before you get too excited. It's the same genre. It's its own story, and it's definitely something that's been done. Jay Ferber, the creator, him and Scott Godlewski, they were going for Deadwood meets Deadwood in outer space. And I think they're succeeding.
That's cool. I wish the Serenity and Firefly comics were better. I wish I liked them more.
I thought they were okay. I just didn't like them as much as I liked the TV series.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. It's hard for them to live up. I know Zach Whedon's come back and done like a couple of the last stories for it, but it's just not the same. So I want it to be the TV show, and it's not.
Yeah.
So that's probably the biggest letdown there. But definitely good stuff to read. Always great stuff to read in Indie World. Oftentimes much better than what you find in Marvel and DC, which we beat a dead horse about all the time.
But let me throw in a
fact of
couple.
the matter.
Yeah, let me throw in a couple more indies to that too. Lazarus had its issue coming out. Greg Rucka writes that. It's a wonderful series, and on this most recent issue, they're getting ready to call it Conclave of the various families that control North America. While Forever Carlisle's trying to wonder if she's still really a Carlisle. Doctor Who, the 11th Doctor, #2 was out from Titan, and they're doing a great job with their Doctor Who franchise. I love Magnus, Robot Fighter. Fred Van Lante's writing that one. And he's got a neat take on this one where Magnus was really raised up in this virtual world that didn't exist, and now he's woken up to the real world where robots have taken over. And he meets the love of his life from his virtual world, who has the same name, only she's never heard of him. She's married to somebody else. And then the Armor Hunters thing is still going on over at Valiant, which is completely awesome. And they had Armor Hunters Harbinger out, where Generation Zero was trying to fight off this swarm that's meant to decontaminate the planet, meaning kill all humans and let the world start over. And then finally, there was one. Zombie Trent #2 was out. Now, this book is so inappropriate and wrong and funny as can be. It is one of the funniest books I've read. It's so over the top. And it's where Janie is meeting the undead king of Vegas. It comes from Action Labs' Danger Zone imprint, so you have to sort of ask for it. It's in some of the better comic shops, but not in all comic shops. So if you want to get hold of it, you can go to Action Lab's website and get it that way, but do talk to your comic shop about getting the Action Lab books. They're really good.
Zombie Tramp is fun. But you're right, it's off the wall fun.
Yeah, completely.
Definitely for mature audiences.
Absolutely, you do not want to let little kids do this one.
Very mature audiences. I think the cover pretty much tells you that.
Yeah.
When you look at it. So you should get that hint. But like I said again, awesome stuff from indies, as always. Love the stuff that comes from all these indies. So many good things coming out. So go pick up those books. So many good things to read. Not so much this week, but what do we have coming up next week? Anything good next week, guys?
Let me go with DC real quick. There's more Futures End books coming out. Batman and Robin, Batman, Superman, Batwoman, Green Lantern, New Guardians, Justice League, Red Hood and the Outlaws, Supergirl, Superman, Wonder Woman, Teen Titans, Pandora, Wonder Woman. All of those are Futures End books. But you also have the first tie-in on Multiversity, the Society of Superheroes. I'm really looking forward to that one. Plus, of course, Batman Eternal coming out. Over at Dynamite, you've got the latest Solar Man and the Atom coming out, which has been a wonderful reboot. They're doing a great job with LVO Goatee characters, and this has been excellent with a new Solar being introduced here. IDW has Doberman #3 coming out. I know Nick's going to want to grab that one because he's had a lot of fun with the first couple of those, and they've been great. Dark Horse has Eye of Mute #4 coming out, and Dark Horse Presents #2 with a very strange short story called Action Philosophers, which I know sounds odd, but Fred Van Lente had a series of those some time back, small press, and it was actually quite hilarious. Valiant has Unity, which continues the Armor Hunters theme, along with Armor Hunters Bloodshot. And they also have The Delinquents, which puts in Archer and Armstrong teamed up with Quantum and Woody, following a map that's literally made off the butt cheeks of somebody from a long time back. It's hilarious. Image has Artifacts and Clone coming out, a new series called Oddly Normal. Satellite Sam's coming out, Trees is coming out, and over at Boom, George Perez, who did some of the great artwork of the 80s and beyond, has his own creator-owned series called Sirens coming out at Boom. Jim Henson had there's a book from his studio, Storyteller Witches #1, and then Clockwork Angels is coming out. So there's a big week for indies as well as for over at DC.
And Joe, what do we got coming up in Marvel?
Got a pretty big week ahead of us. The Edge of Spider-Verse will continue in the Superior Spider-Man #32 and in the Edge of Spider-Verse #2, which will feature Gwen Stacy, the Spider-Woman from that universe, and that should be really neat. We're going to also get one of the last tie-ins from Original Sin in Thor and Loki, the 10th Realm, issue #5. Hopefully that'll give us a little more insight into why Thor loses his hammer. On the March to Axis, we have Uncanny Avengers #24. We have Nova #21. He's just found out where his father is, and he is on his way. Another big Spider-Man, Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man #5. They're saying that one of the Spider-Men will rise, I guess, and or die in this between the Peter Parker that has just come back and Miles Morales. And that has been a very good series. There will be no Death of Wolverine this week. There's 5 Wednesdays this month, so this week we don't have a Death of Wolverine, but we do have a Savage Wolverine and a Wolverine in the X-Men. The Last Will and Testament of Charles Xavier will continue in Uncanny X-Men #26. There's all new X-Men 32. The Avengers #35 has Thor on the cover with an axe. That ought to be neat. And in a world of annuals, Deadpool will have a biannual. So to round things off.
I love Deadpool.
You know, they really missed an opportunity with a week where there's no Death of Wolverine. They could have had an issue called Deadpool Stubs His
Dude, that would be so awesome. Can we just have can Deadpool just kill Wolverine? I'd be okay with that. That would be a great series, or even just one book. Everything Deadpool's good, but yeah.
They're buddies now.
Yeah, but that would make it even better.
He'd do it for Wolverine.
Yeah. He just goes Wolverine on Wolverine and kills him.
I wish.
With Deadpool, it would almost have to have some kind of punchline to it, or like an accident, like, oops.
I wish they'd make that movie. I really do.
Yeah.
What if you just killed him with a kitty cat? You just got clawed to death? Do something crazy. You can do something crazy.
Gave him a bad chimichanga.
Yeah.
There's a video out there that everyone should see. It was at Comic-Con 2 years ago where Deadpool, it's just all about dancing Deadpool. It's amazing.
Nick, did you have anything this week you're looking forward to?
Honestly, not really. I'm just kind of going to see what's happening. Deadpool biannual, but...
Of course. I think everyone's...
Oh, and Doberman, of course.
Except Ed, maybe. No, Ed doesn't dislike Deadpool.
No, yeah, that's the thing. I'll let y'all mess with Marvel more because I've got my hands full with DC and some of the indies.
I think Deadpool is one of the few examples where they rip off another character and it's more successful.
Well, it's funny, and I don't know if you read the last Deadpool. It was it was an issue from the '90s kind of thing where they just put that issue in there, and there's a joke in there where they say something about being original, and then the guy looks at him and says, "Well, say hi to Slade for me," you know.
I love that when they every once in a while, every 6 or 7 issues, they'll throw a throwback issue in. and say it's from the vaults.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good stuff, guys. Always fun. That pretty much wraps it up for all the news we have this week and what we have to look forward to next week. Thanks again to Ed, Joe, and Nick for you guys being with us tonight. You can always catch all of their writings and some of my writings when I get a chance to actually write on tmstash.com. So for further news and all the latest news, go to tmstash.com, find out everything that's happening in the comic book and movie and TV universe. You can always watch us here live. We're on around 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Pacific or Eastern, somewhere in that time frame on Sunday nights. If you can't catch us live, you can always check us on our YouTube channel at Finding the Stash on YouTube, and you can always catch us on your favorite podcasting streams if you just want to get the audio, iTunes, Stitcher, you name it. You can grab us there. That pretty much wraps it up for tonight. Everyone keep reading the Stash, and have a great evening.